Alright, Rabbi Sai, Shalom Aleichem, another week, Vayeshev. And we're getting closer to Chanukah. We'll talk about Vayeshev a little while. Then we'll go further in the 36 questions of Chanukah. We did last time about 8 or 10 of them, and we'll go further. If you want to hear you want to see all 36 questions and answers, go on Torah anytime. Right where you are right now, go on the header. And you'll see where it says there, I have about 2,000 shiurim, 2006, on Kol HaLashon, which is a telephone hookup. And then you can print it down, all 36 questions and answers. And I read them off on Kol HaLashon, about 18, 20 of them, 16 I think, half of 36, 18 of them. And now on Torah Anytime, I just did last week about 8 or 10. We'll try to go a little faster. Before we start, let me tell you that if you want to tune in to the telephone 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, any place in the United States, you call one number, 718-395-2440. 718-395-2440. And there's, I don't know how many hundreds of Magidei Shir. You want to get me, you have to hit 11101. 11101. 11101, you get me a Chumash. And also, if you need another inside income, another stream of income while you're still keeping your job, it's a tremendous opportunity opened up for thousands of people. And if you want to help yourself, or a friend, or a cousin, or a husband, or a wife, or a son, or a son-in-law, or brother-in-law that doesn't have a job or is not making enough at his job, give me a call on my cell phone. 845-826-4789. I'll introduce you to an idea that could change your life. That's right. Financial freedom. You won't have any problem with bills. And some of the money comes in without even doing anything. You have to work a little bit. Then it develops. Give me a call, 845-826-4789. Let us go to Vayeshev. So now we're finished with the 42 Pesukim of last week's Sedra of Esav, the Russia, the scoundrel with all his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, all his wives, and all the sheiks that they became, aluf this, and aluf that, and aluf this, and aluf that, and a melech here, and a melech there, and a melech there. 42 Pesukim. 2-3 pages. Why would you give a Russia 42 Pesukim? And Rashi says, they're all mamzerim. Amalek is a double mamzer. Read the Rashi. I can't even tell you on it. It's too disgusting. How he's a double mamzer. The all mamzerim. Why would you mention this in the Torah? 42 Pesukim. From Pasuk number Lamed Vav Aleph. Eile told us Esav Hu Edom. Until the Pasuk number Mem Gimel. That's Mem Beis Pesukim. Because the first one just says Eile told us. The second one starts out with his rotten wives and the wicked children. 42 Pesukim. Why? Answer. He did one mitzvah. Kibbud Av. Kibbud is 42. Chav Yud Beis Vav Dalet. 42. He deserves honorable mention in Torah for one mitzvah. And just imagine we do 613 mitzvahs. Now how can you do 613? I'm not a Kohen. I don't have a field. I mean, there's so many things I can't do. If you learn Torah, and if you would be chuyev, you would keep it. If you could do it, if you had to do it, you would do it. Learning Torah is like doing it. That's why Yaakov said, I stayed with Lavan all these years, and I kept Taryag mitzvahs. How can you keep Taryag mitzvahs? You don't have a field. You're not a kohen. A lot of mitzvahs don't apply. There's no korbanos. How do you have Taryag mitzvahs? 613. I learned the whole Torah is like if I had to do it, I would do it. That means kept, I believe, in 613 mitzvahs. None of us can do 613 mitzvahs. Nobody. A woman can't do a man's mitzvahs. A man can't do a woman's mitzvahs. How can a woman keep 613? She helps her husband do it. And the husband learns about kabbanis like doing kabbanis. Or if you're going, you do the kabbanis. So if I have a field to give truma and meiser and payah and this and that. I don't have a field, I never have to give any truma and meiser and payah and nothing. So if you learn Torah, it's like you're doing it. So that means he kept Taryag mitzvahs. Now, let's go to Vayeshev. Vayeshev Yaakov Eretz Megure Ovav. Now he came back, he was 98 years old. And now we start with the story of Yosef, which happened 10 years after he was home. So he's 98, now he's 108. And Yosef was 7 when he left, and he's 17 now, 10 years. Vayeshev Yaakov Eretz Meguri Avav, Yaakov returned to the land, the area of the travelings of his father, that means Hebron. Eretz Canaan, the land of Canaan. Eila told us Yaakov. These are the generations of Yaakov. Yosef ben Sheva Esvishana. Yosef was 17 years old. Wait a minute. Told those, where you should have all the children here. Why just the one? Eila told those Yaakov. That's why told those is written without a vav. The first vav is missing. You're only talking about one. And also, you'll see in a minute, Eila told us Yaakov, Yosef ben Shvayis Rishonah. Yosef was 17 years old. Hoyeroeh, he was a shepherd, es echov, not im, with, but es echov. He was not equal with them. He was superior. They, to him, were like sheep, because he became a king and a navi, and they didn't become a king and a navi. Hoyeroeh, es echov, with sown with sheep. Who nar, he was a lad. He was 17 years old. As B'nai Billah, he hung around with the B'nai Billah, B'nai Zilpah, the 2 midwives who had the 4 children, because he wasn't liked by the brothers too much. You'll see soon. First of all, he was Bechor, and God took it away. Yaakov took it away from Reuven, so he was from the wife that had the least amount of children too. They were from the wives that had most children. They didn't like that. Besides, he loved Rachel more and didn't love Leah as much, and therefore they hated him. He hung around with the second-class citizens, the B'nai Billah and Zilpah, because the Shvatim called them Avodim. They're not children of wives, they're children of Shitchas. Billah, B'nai Zilpah, and the Sheov, but his father gave them Kedushin when he came back. The 2, Billah and Zilpah, had Kedushin. They were real children now, real wives. These were real children. The Shei Aviv Vayove Yosef at Dibosam. Yosef brought the report back, Raw Elavim, in a nasty way to the father. He brought back 3 things they're doing wrong. But usually when you bring back Lashon Hara, Motzi Shemra, you're Motzi, you create Shemra. Why it says Vayove, should say Vayotse. He brought Motzi Shemra. Yosef was raw in a nasty way to the father. Everything what he said Yosef was emes, but in a nasty way. Motzi Shemra means you create it out of your own mind. Yosef means you brought the truth, but he said it in a nasty way. You paid for that. Yisrael how was Yosef, and Yisrael loved Yosef. Mikol Banot more than all the children's. You know why? Because Ben Zakunim Hulo, he was a child of old age. He was one of the last children. Well, Binyamin is younger, and the father guy is older when he had Binyamin, 6 years older, because Yosef was born before he started the 6 years working for himself, and Binyamin was born on the way home, 6-7 years older, younger. So why Yosef is Binyamin is more Ben Zakunim? The answer is yes. Yosef is a son of his old age, but it means more than that. Ben Chakim Tezonkel is he was smarter than everybody, and Ben Zakunim, he was very wise. Everything they learned from Shem and Avery gave over to Yosef. His Zakunim, he told them everything he learned from Shem and Avery, call that Torah Kulo, even the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. Zakunim, listen. Zayin, Kuf, Nun, Yud, Mem. Zroim, Mem, Moed, Kachim, Nezikim, Zroim, Moed, Noshim, Nezikim, Kachim, Taharas. Now there's only 5 words there, but there's 6 Sidorim. Zroim, Moed, Noshim, Nezikim, Kachim, Taharas. Which one didn't he teach him? Zakunim, Zayin is Zroim, Kuf is Kachim, Nun is Noshim, Yud is Nezikin, Yeshuos, salvation, that's Nezikin, how to save yourself from getting caught in business. You learn Nezikin, which saves you from Nazek. It's called Yeshuos, how to save yourself. So to start again, Zroim is Zakanim. With that, Ben Zakunim. Zion is Zroim. Kuf is Kodshim. Nun is Nashim. Yud is Yeshuos, which is how to save yourself from Nezikin. That's the same name as Nezikin. And Mem is Moed. So what happened to Toharos? That he didn't teach him yet. That you have to be older. That's the very hardest of all the 6 Sidorim. So he taught him over everything that he learned from Shem and Avery, even Tosh Balpeh. How come he couldn't teach that to the others? Because they weren't as wise as him. Remember, I told you he was Roa Es Echov, not Im Echov. They were like sheep compared to him. In fact, they hated him because he was superior and he became a Navi. They didn't. They became a Melech and they didn't. In fact, they threw themselves on the ground after 22 years and said, "We're your servants." Like the dreams, like he saw in the dream. Ben Zakunim Hu. And also, it says here, he was like, he Ziv Ikunin. He looked like Yaakov. Ikun. You looked like exactly like him. That's how you get the English word icon. You have a picture of something. Ben Zakunim Hoylov. Also, Kasonis Pasim is made him a Kasonis, a robe, and a Pasim. Pasim means fine wool. Some say silk. Some say, Rav Targum Yonason said, had drawings on it. Some say it was many-colored, radak. There's many explanations of what means pasim. Some say pasim is his experiences that he had. Pei Samach Yud Mem. He was sold, the last one, to Potiphar. Samach, he was sold before that to the Sachrim. Yud, he was sold to Yishmaelim. Mem, he was sold to Midyanim. So the way it worked was Midyanim, Yishmaelim, Sachrim, Potiphar. That's his life experience. Some say Pei Sim. Pei is 80. He was a king for 80 years, right? From 30 to 110. That's 80 years. Pei Sim. Sim is 60, 70, and 40. 110 years he lived. 110. 80 of the 110 he was a melech. Pei Pa Sim. Pei is 80. And Sim 60, 70, and 40. 110. He lived 110 years old. He's supposed to live 120, but he spoke Lashon Hara against us. He said, "How is your father my servant?" No. They said, "Your father, our servant." He didn't stop them. They used next Sedra. "Your father, our servant." So he heard it 5 times, and the translator translated 5 times because he may believe he didn't understand Hebrew. 10 words. Avdecha Avinu, 5 times translated as 10. 10 years would take it off his life. Every one of the brothers lived 120 or more. Yosef lived 110. The Echad and his brother saw that the father loved him more because he had this long robe with long silk clothes. You don't become a shepherd. A shepherd is a blue collar worker. You don't put on scholar's clothes. You didn't go to work like the rest of the brothers. They hated him. Because Yaakov wanted to give over everything he had from Shem and Eber to him because the Bachakim was wiser than everybody. So they hated him. But they couldn't speak to him in peace. Shalom is written without a vav. They're not hypocrites. They can't say nice and mean something else in their heart. They can't flatter him and say nice things, but meanwhile they hate him. They're not hypocrites. So Rashi says from their genai, from their complaint that they hated their brother, jealousy, something good comes out. They're not hypocrites. They couldn't speak completely in shalom. They're not two-faced. That's why shalom is missing a vav. Yosef chalom. He had a dream. He told it to his brothers. Well, if they hate him, why do you tell your brothers a dream? That dream, that's going to make him hate him more. There's a halacha. A navi is asur l'chvosh nevuah. You can't keep it back. You have to tell it to everybody around you. And if they don't like you, that's their problem. You cannot be kovesh your nevuah. You have to tell them. They don't like it. That's their problem. Yosef Otis knows that they hated him before the dream. First of all, he's treated like a scholar with a long thing there, long clothes, and now it has dreams. They hate him. Second reason they hate him. Shimon, listen, please, I want to tell you my dream. I dreamt a dream. I dreamt 2 dreams. I'll tell you the first one. We're binding up these big bundles of wheat, barley in the field, tie them up, make them into bundles. Alumim, but in the middle of the field, my bundle got up. So stayed up. And all your bundles got around my bundle. They bowed down to my bundle of wheat. That's wild. The brother said, you want to be a king over us? The word is written without a vav, two vavs are missing. Both of them have a vav. You want to be a dictator? You want to be a king? Be elected over us? Or you want to be a dictator, not elected? Mashal Timshal Banu. Yosef also said they hated him even more. Al Chalom Asav over his dreams. Al Devar that he had the nerve to say it. Like Chalom Od Chalom Acher. It's getting worse. He had another dream. Yisapar also Lecha, he told it to his brothers because Mechuyev, and now he's Mechuyev to say his dream. His Nevuah. Why did Yosef think it's a dream? Maybe it's hallucinations. How do you know it's a dream? Why do you tell it to your brother? Maybe you're hallucinating? How do you know? Because everything that happened to Yaakov happened to Yosef. I'm going to tell you 16 things that both of them had, and therefore he knew it's a nevuah. Yom Hine Chalamti, I dreamt. Chalom, a dream. Ode, another one. Hine Hashemesh, the sun. Now it's getting wild. The sun and the Urayach, the moon. And 11 stars, Mishtachmeli, are bound down to me. Now they really thought the man's out of his mind. The sun and the stars and the sun and the moon, the 12 stars. The man's wild. Yisapar Elovi told it to his father in detail. Sipur is detail. Like a sofer counts 1, 2, 3. Exactly all the details. And the father was a Navi too, because all the others are Navim. Yosef was a Navi. The 7 Ushpizin has Yosef, none of the other brothers. So Yisapar is Ovi, that's Echa, a second time. The second dream, a second time to the brothers, first time to the father. The father yelled at him. What is the dream you dreamt? Havo, Novo, should I come and leave him? Me and your mother, she's dead already? Can't be true. Your brother, the Shtaklos bow down to you to the ground? Can't be true, because you see, it's one part of Sheker, your mother's not here, it's sun and the moon, father and mother. But his brothers were very jealous. And the father waited, watched, because this is going to come true. He didn't want to tell the brothers that he's a real Navi, because he put on a show. He yelled at his son, which means he wants to save the family, because if he would have agreed with Yosef, he would have won 1 and lost 11. But since he agreed with the brothers, looks like he won 11, and looks like he lost 1. But he was a Navi, and he knew exactly what's going on. Now he says, your mother died. How do you know that? Look in the words. Asher cholam to. Havo, look at the letters. Asher cholam to. The last letter, remember the Torah is given continuous letters. Moshe made words. Asher, the last letter is Reish. Ches lamed. Rochel. Mem. Tof. Hey. Meiso. Asher cholam to. Havo. The letters, continuous letters. Rochel. Rochel. Meiso. How can it be your mother and me? It means Billah. You'll see later. It means Billah. It took because he married Billah. Again, but after she was a Shipri, he came back. He married the two with Ksuva, the Billah and Zilpah. The brothers thought this guy is really he's out of it. The stars got down there. Ooh, they hated him. Now we're up to Shady. Some Chazal say they hate him for Gashmias reasons. He was handsomer, taller, beautiful. He has his long silk coat, and we had to have to work. He doesn't. He learns all day with the papa, and they have to work. Some say they were jealous of his ruchnius. We're talking about the Shiftei Yisrael, the greatest men on earth, from where we come. They were jealous of his ruchnius. But they didn't like that he brought Lashon Hara home to the father. What did he say, Lashon Hara? First I'm going to tell you the 16 things how Yaakov and Yosef is the same. That's why he says, Eila told us Yaakov Yosef. It says Rashi, some of them, I'm going to tell you all of them in the Midrash. Each was born Mohol, Mal. Yaakov, Ishtam, perfect. He was born perfect. So was Yosef. Only Yosef, born Mal. So you say Esav, well, okay. Some say Esav was born Mal. Esav, Osui, ready-made. Some say no, he was not born Mal. He refuses to let his father make a bris on him. Esav is a little baby, I can refuse. It's a whole discussion here. Each one was born Mal. That's number one. Each one's mother was an Akara prior to giving birth to him. Rachel, Yosef, and Rivka, Yaakov. Right? Married 10 years. Yitzchak got married at 40, didn't have a child until 60, 20 years. Number three, each one's brother hated him and sought to destroy him. Esav, Yaakov, and the brothers in Yosef. Before this whole thing with the dreams, they didn't like him anyhow because he treated differently. So he stayed home and got this long coat. Number four, each was a shepherd. Right? Yaakov and Yosef, each became extremely wealthy. One became a multi-millionaire and Beloved became poor. And Yosef was the king of Egypt. Each of them married a woman outside of Eretz Yisrael. Yaakov, Rachel. Yosef, Osnas, in Egypt. Osnas was Dinah's daughter. He married his niece. That's his soul sister. Because Leah was supposed to have Yosef, and she prayed to God and had a girl, Dinah, Din Em Hashem, Dinah, and didn't tell her with Hashem. It came out really Dinah, but the soul was Yosef. That's why he married his soulmate, Dinah's daughter, Osnas. Each was accompanied by angels. Yaakov came back, he saw Machanoim, two groups of angels. And Yosef was met in the field by an angel. Where are you going? Who are you looking for? Your brother? An angel. Each of them descended to Mitzrayim and contributed to the rest of the famine. Yaakov stopped the famine as soon as he came there. And Yaakov was the king. Yosef was the king. He says, listen, you're going to have 7 years of good and 7 years of hunger. And he got fired to pile up all the food all over the country, all over. So to make the hunger bearable, he gave him a plan how to store up food. So both of them reduced the hunger, stopped the hunger, or arrested it. He stopped it. Each of them was transported from Eretz Yisrael and buried in Eretz Yisrael. Yaakov and Yosef, their bones were carried to Eretz Yisrael. Both look the same. Ziv ikunen Shel Yosef Domelo, the Ziv Ikunin, the likeness of his icon, of his face, looked just like the father, 90 years apart. Both became the Bechor, not the natural Bechor became Bechor, they became Bechor. Yerochel became Reuven lost it. Yosef became Bechor. But he took it away from Reuven because he did something with the beds of Bilah. And Yaakov took it away from Esau. Both became Bechor, even though they're not firstborn. Yeah, firstborn of Rachel, but not firstborn of Yaakov. And the Bechor goes to the firstborn of the father. Well, both are firstborn. Well, the first one that's born, 2 wives. Well, he took it away from Reuben, and he got it. Reuben became a triple loser. Lost the Malchus, the Kahuna, and the Pishnayim. You know that. The Malchus went to the 4th son. And the Kahuna went to the 3rd son, and the Pishnayim went to the 11th son, Yosef, because he had 2 sons, and they take over parts of Eretz Yisrael, Reuben, Shimon, Ephraim, and Menashe. Yosef became 2, he got Pishnayim, 2 parts of Eretz Yisrael. Next one, each were blessed in dreams. Yaakov had a dream about the ladder, who I'm going to make you, build you, and you're going to spread out all over the world. And here he had a dream. He's going to be a king. Lavan was blessed because of Yaakov moving into his house. And Potiphar was blessed because Yosef moved into his house. That's so. That the Potiphar became wealthy because of Yosef. Both traveled to Mitzrayim. Both made their children swear to take them out of Mitzrayim. And Yaakov was carried out by his sons, and Yosef was carried out by Moshe Rabbeinu on the night of Yetzias Mitzrayim. Both died in Mitzrayim. Both because of begodim. Yaakov wore Esav's begodim, he got the bracha, and Yosef because of Kasonas Pasim. 16 things they were similar, so Yosef knew ahead of time he's different. Let's take a look now. Some things we don't know. Every pasuk of Vayeshev starts with a vav, except 9. 112 pasukim. 92% start with a vav, and 8% start with not a vav. We know why? One is a continuation of the other, and Hashem, it's one of Hashem's letters, vav. Hashem orchestrated this. Yosef is supposed to go down to Mitzrayim, regardless if the brothers hated him or not. That's pre-planned. That's in the Hashgacha process when God created the world. I mean, Eden was supposed to be in Mitzrayim, because look, they were in Mitzrayim, and the hunger stopped when Yaakov came down. So a half a year later, you should go back to Canaan. No, they stayed 210 years. They were supposed to be in Mitzrayim. Would have come from another reason. If they hated him, even if they wouldn't hate him, you still go down to Mitzrayim, Yosef. It's part of the plan. That's the way it is. Hashgacha process. So, Vav, Hashem planned this thing out. Yaakov wanted to run away from Esav, right? He crossed over the river that night, and the next morning, Esav, surprise! Oh, Esav was here. But he fought with the Malach the night before. He said, they were coming, so what's a surprise? He figured, dividing up the camp in 2 groups, maybe not such a good idea. Middle of the night, he got up. He said, let's go. He ran over the river. He said, let's run away. I have to try my best. Hashem didn't want him to get away. He wanted this interplay between Esav and Yaakov to happen. He wanted Esav, to say, as he said, keep what you got, which means I accept the brachas of my father. Keep what you got. The Gush Gashmias. Therefore, after all these years, he was masking Esav to the bracha of his father. That's what Hashem wanted to happen. That's what will be Lachus Hayomim. All the nations will be masking to the bracha of Yisrael. So, every pasuk starts with a vav, except 9. What do those letters of the 9 pasukim make? El ka'ab ohavecha. God, like a father, loves you. Yaakov, Yosef. I'm orchestrating this whole thing. I love you like a father. It has to be this way. 9 pasukim do not start with a vav. And those 9, if you look them up, they start with an aleph and a lamed and a chav. Aleph and a beis and a aleph and a hey and a beis and a chav. El ka'ab o el haticha. I love you like a father. Now listen, this is how it has to be. Rus, Megillus, Rus. Also, every pasuk starts with a vav except 8. She wanted to marry a man who had a bris on the 8th day. Every Jew has a bris on the 8th day. Boaz was a tzaddik tomim. She wanted a man who could control his taivas. Because she crawled into his bed that night and he didn't touch her. Even though he's not married, she's not married. And Yetzer Hara said, what's wrong? One of the 3 ways to have kinyan and keser shtar and biyah, no? What's mutter? He said, no. That's for a common amoritz, but not for the Gadol. He was a Boaz, a Gadol Hadron. And Rus was testing him. Because she wanted a man who could control his taivas. 8, bris, on 8th day. And my father says, they was he had to be masakin, the chet of his progenitor, Yehuda, who didn't control himself with Tamar. To produce David HaMelech. Melech, you saw, you got to masakin all the begimas. So Yehuda and Tamar had to be masakin that chet of Yehuda and Tamar. Here comes the son of Yehuda, Boaz. And Naomi had Ruach HaKodesh, Nuvuah. He says, crawl into his bed, let's see what he does. And he didn't touch her, even though all kind of lumdis, you could do it and everything. And just like Yosef with Ashes Potiphar, there's no by Goyim, there's no chitun, there's no erison, there's no suyim, there's no kedushin. She wanted him, and she said, later you'll see you and me are going to be in Olam Haba together. And it was half true, because it was him and her daughter, Osnas. Really, she adopted the daughter. Really, was Dina's daughter. That Yaakov put a kameh around her neck and said, Shechem was Ma'ana's Dina, and this child was the product. So he says, you better get away from me. You're going to be embarrassed. Go down and make your own fortune. He married his niece, Yosef. That's his soul sister. That means to save her from embarrassment, he told her to go, and really they adopted her. And he just happened to work for that man who adopted his niece. I mean, Min HaShamayim, the whole thing's orchestrated. And so he was in Gan Eden with his wife, Osnas. That means, and that what the woman said, my daughter, and she didn't know, she thought she was going to be in Gan Eden with him. She had a little idea. It was her daughter, her adopted daughter. And he had all kinds of things, maybe yes, maybe not, and he decided no. That's why it's called Yosef HaTzadik. Not because he learned a lot of Torah. It's because he controlled his Yetzer Hara. You're not a tzaddik because you learn a lot. You're a tzaddik that you control yourself. That makes you a tzaddik. Not that you learn a lot and do a lot of mitzvahs. No, if you don't do any averos, that makes you a tzaddik. Main thing is self-control. That's the difference. Eze hagibor hakovesh as Yitzchak. You can't destroy Yetzer Hara. You control it. God made Yetzer Hara. But also Yetzer Hara, also Torah Tabla, the only way you can fight him is with Torah. Not with mitzvahs, not with good deeds. That's a wonderful thing, but Yetzer Hara is an intellectual thing. And Torah is intellectual. It's a counterforce. The only way you stay Yoresh Shemaim is Talmud Torah, nothing else. Then comes mitzvahs, then it means something. Okay, Rabbi Isai, we're done for today. And the next year will be on Chanukah, later today maybe, on laws of Chanukah. If you want more of this Sedra, and go to Kol HaLashon, because every day I go to one Leviyah, then Aliyah. Now we're up to 2006 or something. Tune into 1-718-395-2440 and hit 11101. It's like a Zoom.